The next show is planned for April 9th, 2022. It's about 29 weeks to bring something really special to the stage. I'm very confident that that's going to happen.
Alright, we're back for another video. Today is officially, well, it's check-in day, so it's unofficially 11 weeks out. This past Saturday was 11 weeks out. I'm recording this on Monday morning. It's starting to get light out, and I don't know if you guys can see the snow blowing, but we're getting hit hard right now. We're supposed to get like almost 2 feet of snow over the next day, so that'll be fun. Expenditure will go up as shoveling increases. Expenditure increases, so you may be burning a little more calories than normal. But brief update on where we're at, what's going on. So I weighed in this morning, 163.2, so I was higher than I thought. Last week we made a calorie drop, about 200 calories, bringing me down to 2,500 in a bit. And you guys would have saw that full day of eating, going through what the current diet looks like. And you know, throughout the week, my weight kind of stayed relatively stable in the high 163s, kind of 163.7, 163.8. And then yesterday morning it was 162.1, so I was like, okay, now we're moving, and I felt like leaner, I felt tighter. And then this morning 163.2. So, you know, we had a hard leg session yesterday. If you guys, you know, follow me closely, you know, probably how my kind of training is structured right now, which is Sunday is a pretty good leg session. We've got the squat, we've got leg press, lunges, so a lot of, you know, taxing movements. So we'll see if that kind of tapers down. Obviously I've checked in with Cliff this morning, sent him my photos, sent him just an update for the week, and we'll see what he says. He might make a decision to make some adjustments, he might not, but you know, at this point, and this is something that I talked to a friend of mine, Ray Drews, about. He's a WNBF pro, and you know, he had mentioned that, you know, there comes a point where the scale isn't always, you know, the best judge of the progress you're making. Obviously, from a conditioning standpoint, you know, that's going to be in comparison to how much body fat you have, right? Which, as you get leaner, the scale needs to go down because body fat levels go down. But you know, it's not always the be-all end-all if the scale doesn't always make, you know, some huge changes in week to week, but sometimes it messes with your head a little bit. But anyways, like I said, I felt leaner, I felt tighter. Photos this morning, like I took some photos, and you know, I was pretty pleased with how things are looking. So from a visual standpoint, you know, we're in a pretty good spot, in my opinion, especially, you know, we're 11 weeks from the first show, but then, you know, it's be 12 and then 14 because it's 2 weeks after that, and then 15. So I have, you know, still a lot of time, and with where I'm at conditioning wise, I think I'm in a pretty good spot, definitely the best spot I've ever been in personally. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what Cliff says, and whatever he says, we'll do. This was, I think, probably one of my best weeks in a really long time, as far as just like focus and determination. Like, for so long, which is something we're going to kind of talk about in this video. I've really tried to kind of manage things and balance things, as best I could from, a relationship standpoint, friendships, lifestyle. And there comes a point when some of that stuff has to give a little bit. And, if you're too lax with things, then it takes away from prep. And if you're too strict with prep, it takes away from those other areas. And, for a long time, for at least the first half of the prep, I was doing my best to kind of manage both well, and it was working, but there comes a point when you kind of need to pull the reins back a little bit and say, okay, like I have a job to do from a prep standpoint, and I need to start, being more attentive with things and more accurate with things, and not just eyeball it or guesstimate or whatever, because that's not going to get you to the end result, right? So, we're at that point now, and that kind of reflected this past week where, last week was 12 weeks out, and it was kind of just like a little bit of a shift in mindset, that it's like, okay, like 12 weeks, we're in it now, let's get it. We started this prep, nearly 30 weeks out, which, in hindsight, it's gone really quick, but at the time it can seem like a very long time. You're over half a year away, so it can seem, I've got 6 months before prep starts, right? I can be a little bit more flexible, and Cliff encouraged me to apply that flexibility when I could, and really keep other lifestyle factors in a good spot, which I think I did a good job at. But like I mentioned, you gotta know when to pull that stuff back, and now is that time, right? 12 weeks out. This past week was like, okay, you're focused now, the shows are coming up, you're into the new year. Like, we're almost through January, right? Like, I'm recording this today, the 17th, 18th of January. Like things are going really quick, and it's 11 weeks out. This weekend's 10, then it's 8, then it's 4, and all of a sudden it's show day, right? So it comes quick. Anybody that's competed knows that the last, once you get kind of sub 10 weeks or so, it really starts to fly by. And all of a sudden it's here before you know it. But anyways, enough rambling about that. Let's talk about, kind of the subject matter of the video, probably why you clicked on the video, and that's, how to manage life when you're on prep. It can be so easy to feel like, when you're a bodybuilder on prep, that nothing else matters, right? Your sole focus is prep, right? It's your training, it's your nutrition, it's your supplements, it's your sleep, it's your recovery, and nothing else matters. And when you're a professional bodybuilder making, we're talking, IFBB pros, right? That are sponsored, and they're making, at the highest level, making a living off it. It can be easy to do that, right? And, a lot of them, seem just, this is just purely my observation, but a lot of them seem to be single or have spouses that are just as in it as they are. From a competitive standpoint, maybe they're not actively competing right now, but they have before, or they just, when I think of Melissa and Ian Valier, like that's a couple that comes to mind that I think fits that mold. Or you take someone like Nick Walker, who is single and is just solely focused on bodybuilding. That's, from his waking hour till he goes to sleep, it's bodybuilding and nothing else matters. He's got sponsorships based around his bodybuilding, his lifestyle based around his bodybuilding. And, there's a reason why these guys are at the level they are. But for guys like me, and for probably most of you guys watching this, that's just not the reality we live. I have a day job. I run my own business. I'm married. I have a house. I've got pets. I've got family. And it's not good to, from a lifestyle standpoint, to just shut all that stuff out when prep starts. It causes, prep's hard enough as it is when you're managing it well, right? Like, I would say for the most part, I think I've done a good job managing this prep from a lifestyle standpoint, and really trying to limit the negative effects it's brought onto my, outside life, outside of prep. But I would also be, in denial to say that it hasn't at all, right? Like, when you look at, we'll take relationships, right? Because I think that's the biggest one that it can take a toll on. You know, you're limited to, you know, going out for meals, right? Social outings, you know, like I mentioned this, you know, earlier in the video, but, you know, for the first half of prep, it was like, okay, like we could go out for dinner and I could make, you know, smart decisions, and, you know, even if it wasn't 100% perfect on my macros, I had the flexibility to do that, and we could still keep seeing progress. But as prep's gone on and things need to get tighter and tighter and tighter, you know, we can't really go for dinner. We can't do that. You know, we can't go to the movies and other like social events because, well, not other social events, but like, you know, if there's food involved where it's like, okay, everybody's, you know, sitting down for a meal, it's like, okay, Leroy's got to bring his food, or Leroy can't eat, and that creates, you know, stress on both ends, right? It's not just me stressed out, it's my partner stressed out, my wife's stressed out, so it can be challenging from that side of things. But, you know, I think for us, one thing that we've really made an effort in doing is having meals together, even if they're not the same. So, you know, dinners, trying to sit down and have a meal together, especially, you know, working all day, we don't see each other through the day, so then it's okay. At the end of the night, we sit down and I've got my meal, she's got hers. Sometimes she has the same thing, sometimes she switches it up. And, you know, I know some people can be really put off by that, like competitors. If you're eating something in front of them that they can't have, it can be pretty stressful. I'm pretty good at detaching from that. As long as I have food in front of me, like as long as I can eat whatever it is, whether I'm just eating chicken and spinach and you're eating, you know, pizza, like, yeah, that pizza looks good, smells good, don't get me wrong, but I'm eating too, so I can separate from it. Whereas if I'm just sitting there watching, that's when it gets to be a little stressful. So like, you know, making effort and time into you know, those things from a food standpoint is important. Another area that I think people really underappreciate, or maybe it's a little bit unexpected, you know, if you're a first-time competitor, is the kind of the mental shifts and things you experience. You know, you get moody, you get tired and cranky, and like you're like a child in some instances, and it, you know, your friends, your family, people around you, they don't care that you're prepping. So for you to be grumpy and angry at them, they didn't do nothing to you, right? And, you know, it's so easy to just be like quick reactions. You know, you drop something, or, you know, your food's cold, or whatever reason that sets you off, and it's just so easy to just quickly get into that frustrated state of mind and, you know, lash out at others. And you need to really dial that back in and be conscious of that, because you can do it a lot and you cannot register that you're behaving in a certain manner, and then the people around you are like, holy frig, like, I can't do anything right, I can't talk to them, what's their problem? Because they're not in it. They don't know what you're going through, what you feel, and it's not an excuse. Like, prepping is not an excuse to be an asshole, and that's something that definitely has taken me a long time to learn and understand, right? Because, you know, I'm going through this, I'm, you know, quote unquote in pain, or, you know, whatever. You know, how come you're getting frustrated with me? I'm the one that's suffering right now, and you know, that's a decision you made. At the end of the day, this is a choice, right? Like, no one's forcing you to do this. And, you know, to be quite frank, you've got a well-timed meal in 2 hours. Like, if you're hungry right now, like, you'll get fed. You just gotta wait for it, right? There's, you know, people all around the world that got no food at all. So, you know, putting perspective on things and just being mentally aware of, like, you know, some days I'll come home from work and it's just been a day, right? Like, you know, it's been a prep day, or it's been a work day, and, you know, I'm driving home and I can tell that I'm just in that funk, and it's just, okay, you know, take 1 or 2 deep breaths, walk in the door, and, you know, let that stuff stay outside. Don't bring it in the house, right? It's, you come in, you know, I've had those times where I come in and I'm storming and I'm slamming shit, and, you know, my wife's sitting there and she's like, oh my God, it's one of those days I see. And that's not fun. And you don't want one of those days. Once in a while is not bad, but if you have one of those days every day, you know, you're going to have a lot of relationship friction and stress, which is not what we want, right? The last thing you want to add to a prep is other external factors that are stressful, whether it's work or business, relationship, whatever that may be. So managing that stuff's important. And then, another thing I want to talk about is keeping yourself busy, occupied, having habits, finding things that you enjoy outside of prep. This is something that Cliff has really opened my eyes to and really, promoted on me. And it's so easy to get succumbed to this, and it's all you think about, it's all you get focused on. And don't get me wrong, that's good in a sense, but if you find that starts to negatively impact your life and you find you get stressful about it, you get anxious about it, take time to almost forget about it. Don't do things that are going to be negative towards, your prepping. Like, I would probably advise against like recreational drugs or doing activities that may get you injured. Like, definitely don't go skydiving as a hobby on prep. But, for me, it's reading, it's a little bit of video games, it's, editing, podcasts and stuff like that. Like stuff that I can kind of check out for a little while. And then, oh snap, like 2 hours has gone by, it's time to eat again. And all of a sudden you feel good, right? You're not constantly thinking about prep and the next meal and the next workout and, oh, I need to do this, I need to pose, did I do this, do I do that? That stuff can wear you out and break you down. And if you're doing it for, for myself, 30 plus weeks, it can take a toll. So definitely encourage you to find things, little things that you can do that will help keep you, in a sense, distracted, right? Whatever that may be. It could be for you, it could be puzzles, it could be Lego, it could be, going for walks with your pets, whatever it could be. Make an effort to incorporate that stuff into your prep, because I genuinely believe it's going to make a positive impact and not a negative one. If you feel like it's going to take away from things, it's really not. So, I mean, this is purely my experience, guys, and everybody's prep's going to be different. How they handle prep's going to be different. I'm just sharing with you my journey and, the things that I'm going through and how I'm dealing with it and managing it. And, we're 11 weeks out, so the time is coming quick that we'll be on stage, and I'm so excited. I really can't wait. I appreciate all the positivity, all the feedback from you guys on YouTube, on Instagram, everywhere. It's really awesome to see. It's cool to have that supportive community around. But anyways, we'll close the video here. Another sit down kind of conversation with you guys. I know, I think people kind of like this kind of stuff, just real, raw, transparent. When it comes to like vlogging, I like doing it when I have stuff that I can vlog about, but for the most part, my day-to-day is so similar that, it'd be a lot of the same video over and over again. So we'll have them still. We'll have vlogs. We did the full day of eating and stuff like that, which was more of a vlog style video. But I think also sitting down and just, having a subject matter to talk about and hopefully, help you guys with challenges or struggles you might have or just some insight as to how prep actually goes. Hopefully it's helpful. So thanks again, guys. And like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next one.